It's a Chevy Music Showcase.
It's the Chevy Music Showcase.
It's the Chevy Music Showcase.
The Chevy Music Showcase.
It's the Chevy Music Showcase.
It's the Chevy Music Showcase Season 2 Special, an insider view of the North Texas music scene, featuring the talents of Green River Ordinance, Somebody's Darling, the Chris Watson Band, Whiskey Folk Ramblers, Oil Boom, Greg Schrader, Jolie Holiday, Animal Spirit, Dead Flowers, Larry G, the Joey Green Band, and Goodnight Ned. Presented commercial-free by the North Texas Chevy Dealers. For the past year, the North Texas Chevy Dealers have showcased a wide range of creators and performers of original music. And one thing our show has demonstrated beyond the shadow of a doubt is that our local music community is as diverse, original, and bursting with talent as any of the so-called music capitals. Still, that doesn't make it any easier for them to compete against the national acts for a little attention. That's why the Chevy Music Showcase endeavors to shine a light on something we consider a real point of pride and share some insights on what makes these troubadours tick. What put them on this path? What are their challenges? What keeps them going? And how do they turn a nugget of an idea into a connection among complete strangers? Well, to find out, come hang with the band and get to know a few gems of the North Texas music scene.
Do you have a defining moment where music just clicked one day?
I did. This is an odd story. It's not odd, it's just kind of funny. I was at the State Fair of Texas with my parents, and I think I was like 13 or 14, and I saw Winona Judd play. Yeah, I did. I went home with my parents after that, and I was like, I want to take guitar lessons. That was my defining moment. I was like, I'm gonna play music, and I've been playing ever since then, so. I think that meant something.
I was probably like 4 or 5. I grew up in church, so I just remember just the music aspect of it just sort of grabbed me.
I grew up like my dad would take my brother and my mom, and we would go to these things in Texas called Opries. And we would put on Wranglers and like Western shirts and sing like Gene Watson and Merle Haggard songs. Well, that was a typical Friday night for us.
If it can make you cry, make you mad, it gets you high. It's just a waste of time. Any young fool can go as far, dress it up and fade apart. It ain't love that can break your heart.
I was definitely a late bloomer because I grew up without any music whatsoever.
Yeah.
I remember I was in 4th grade the first time I heard rock and roll radio.
Yeah.
Like I was in a truck with some guy and he turned on the radio and it's the rock and roll station. I was like, what's this?
Yeah.
This is great. But I had no idea that I could do it. So I'd rock out on my badminton racket, jumping up and down on my bed, listen to Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses.
Well, there was this band in Fort Worth called Pablo and Hemp Hill 7, and I'd bought a bass and I really didn't start like playing it until my friend Carrie and I saw them in like downtown Fort Worth. And then we saw them 2 weeks later opening up for the Wailers, and it was kind of like, oh, we should do this.
What made me start singing, it was a 6th grade program, I guess is what you called it back then, you know. And I got picked to do the Duke of Earl. And I was in a bear costume that my mom made with the face cut out. So like 7th grade year, hey, you should do the talent show. Remember when you sang that Duke of Earl song? Right. And it started with that.
For me, probably seeing Ferris Bueller sing Twist and Shout in a parade, and I knew that's what I wanted to do.
No one books us in parades though, it's really frustrating.
The first rock and roll show I ever went to just blew my mind wide open. It's like, why would anyone want to do anything else besides that, you know? At least the way I thought then, like even if it wasn't like something that ever made me money, I was still gonna do that forever. As long as like, you know, it just...
You have to.
Yeah, you have to.
It's in there, it's gotta come out.
The desire to make music may come from inside, but the kind of music one makes is almost always built upon the shoulders of giants.
What are your specific influences?
Well, I love traditional country music, and I always have. And growing up on a ranch in East Texas, I was like listening to Conway Twitty and Tammy Wynette and Leona Williams. But Barbara Mandrell and Dolly Parton would be my top 2 because of their showmanship.
Black Sabbath, probably. I'd say that's probably my biggest influence. But I mean, I started playing bass from listening to reggae. I've always just kind of heard the way that Geezer Butler plays those bass lines are all just like, they're really jazzy. I've always appreciated that.
My biggest influence is Modest Mouse. I used to skate back in the day, so like there's a lot of Modest Mouse songs on skate videos, and that's what really got me into music too, or like stylistically.
I don't really listen to a lot of new artists. Most of the stuff is like digging backwards.
Right.
Like who influenced this guy? Well, this guy influenced him. Well, who influenced him? Well, who influenced that guy?
And then eventually you're getting into the Robert Johnstons of the world.
and then you're back and you're learning all this stuff, and all that starts to influence you, you know?
Yeah.
Just kind of snowballs on top of each other.
This is so Texas, but I heard Stevie Ray Vaughan for the first time. And then I was like, whoa, this is it. I've got to play guitar. I need a guitar.
You know, you think about guys like Stevie Ray Vaughan, and like he's a guy that people are influenced by now, but back in 1975, he was influenced by the 15 other blues guys that were trying to do the same thing. And I like the idea of that and the process of songwriting and pulling from the amalgamation of all of your influences and then rolling that into a ball, and that becomes you.
I come from this whole pop like world, and then he's like rock, you know, but he also has, we have like deep roots like within the church. So there's some of that gospel that comes together, but that's what I think makes what we do really cool, is that I didn't have to come to him and be like, okay, we're gonna come with this contrived like idea of like, what, you know, soul, like retro soul. I was just like, these are my songs, this is what I'm feeling, what do you think?
Music out there,
yeah,
you know,
so
growing up,
I used to listen to classic rock on the way to school with my dad and that sort of thing. That all, it all just soaks in, and then all the bands we love now. I love it when you're writing songs and it's like, oh, that kind of sounds like this, and then you'll write another song, it'll be totally different, but you'll see where the influences come from. They're all kind of lingering there in your head, and you just kind of pull from them with whatever you need.
That's the beauty of it's not reinventing anything. It's taking your own like unique set of influences and kind of it's gonna come out how it comes out. Yeah. The stew.
Yeah, the stew.
The artists of the Chevy Music Showcase cover a broad range of sounds and styles, but there's at least one trait they all share. They all perform original music. Now that comes with its own set of challenges, not the least of which is actually writing it.
You know, people ask, well, how do you write a song? And I'm like, I really don't know. It happens different ways, different times. But consistently for me is I just sit with a guitar and then I start throwing out inaudible words that eventually turn into a word. It usually happens at whatever mood the progression is. Those type of words start to come out.
Right.
When it's good, it just happens.
Well, I mean, songwriting is really like conversation, you know,
sort of.
for the most part.
I think it's conversation for the antisocial, maybe.
They kind of say something that somebody's feeling, but they can't get it out themselves. Like, I could never, ever say that, but they just did.
I've never been the acoustic, sit on a stool and write songs and just, there are chords to my poems. I've never been that guy. The song creates a meaning for itself to me, and then the words come from that. So I'm a musician before I'm a singer and a songwriter, and so from a songwriting perspective, I want to write music that before the lyrics even happen, you're feeling something.
Sure. I catch myself sometimes writing my own future, you know? When you get these breakup songs and these heartbreak songs or these love songs, and 2 years down the road, you're like, I wrote that song 2 years ago and I'm living it now.
Let go of your worry, get out of a hurry, let the sky blow through your head with all your windows down. Let the music take us where they won't know to chase her. Get you right on a shooting star to where only love is found.
So do you do most of the writing and then just bring it to the group?
Yeah, like I'll just write like a riff or a song on guitar, bring it into practice, and usually leave a spot open for her to write her own part. She writes her own lyrics and stuff, and then once the band gets together, that's when we hash out like just everything else, whatever the song entails.
I mean, basically, it's like we come to the table with songs and be like, check this out, I just wrote the song, and it, you know, we might collaborate, like one of his songs, one of my songs, put them together. We just help each other out, you know. I think that's the best way to do it.
Sometimes during songwriting, it's this cool thing where the stars align and everybody's just flowing, and there's sometimes where it's hard. It's like, I don't like that idea. I like that idea. Every song, whether it starts with Josh, or starts with a drum part, or starts with a guitar lick, goes through this tension of 5 guys pulling it apart and putting it back together to tell a common story. And so that tension, I feel like, makes our songs what they are.
But the songwriting's really fun. I mean,
yeah.
2 chords and good vibes. That's pretty much it, you know?
The work doesn't stop when the song is written. The true test of a songwriter's mettle comes when their masterpiece is set free, to see how it's received by fans and peers. Fortunately for our artists, the North Texas music scene provides fertile ground for their work to take root.
If we write a song for the first time, we play it for the first time live, it's terrifying. It's because you just don't know. Like, you think it's good. I think that if it makes the cut of being a part of the set, you know, of course I think it's good enough to be a part of the set, but you just, I mean, no one's ever heard that song before, except for my mom. She might think it's good, but she's not ever gonna tell me that she doesn't. Sure. And so you're really looking at people and hoping that the feeling that you put into it, you hope that that translates.
Parker, our drummer, announces right before we start playing that, you know, we're there to remind everyone that you're beautiful and you're loved and you're, you know, part of a community. And it's just like, we're opening up to you guys with our music. You guys have your own ways of connecting with each other. So it's sort of like, we're not just standing here and like playing music for you. Like, we get off stage and I'm like, I want to hug people and talk to them.
Trying to start a movement.
Yeah, movement, yeah. But it's like a good way to feel like, okay,
that's kind of
I'm
cool, like in
comfortable.
a way to like connect with the audience.
Yeah.
Because most bands like open up with a spiel about having t-shirts for sale.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you guys still get nervous before you go on?
Depending on the show. Yeah.
Granada drapes.
Granada drapes, yeah, man. Like
Freak me out.
that is the best feeling in the world, though. Is that, and it's never like in the moment the best feeling, because you're sitting there like, you know, like, yeah. But afterwards, looking back on it, it's like, oh man, like that's where it's at.
Being able to play, and even if there's not a big crowd there, just knowing that some people are out there to see music and just kind of experience that, you know, those moments from a 45-minute set that are awesome, and then some that are, you know, the ones that aren't awesome are still kind of part of a fun night. I don't know, I mean, like, what, you could stay home on a Friday night, or you could go see, you know, go see people, you know, go experience life, I guess.
I can't explain how I got how I am, but I know in my heart I'm a quality man.
You know me, man. I'm at every show. Every night of the week, if there's live music, I'm somewhere.
The influence in Dallas, you know, you can sit and name all these bands that influence you, but that's like what gets me, is seeing friends and people and peers doing it. That's what I'm inspired by in town, you know. Their music, it makes me want to go home and write a song. It makes me want to like do better. You know, when I see you perform, I want to perform like you do on stage.
Huge variety of talented musicians in DFW.
And all genres of music. That's
yeah, whatever band you like on the radio, there's a band that sounds like that, but maybe a little better or a little closer to the heart. It's you get some real music in any genre, just as good as anybody's on the radio.
That's so true.
And you know, for $5 instead of $100.
Jack, that was well put, man. Come on.
Of course, one can only enjoy home field advantage for so long. At some point, you got to take the show on the road.
Touring is one of those things, like, it's such an integral part of what we do, and it's also like the hardest part of what we do. It's fun because you get to take, you know, music in your room and in the studio is very different than music in front of fans and in front of crowds, and that's such a huge part of what we do. I feel like we're a live band. But touring is also hard. It's hard being away from your family, it's hard being away from your friends. You miss a lot of life and you sacrifice a lot. There were years where we lived on the road, especially when we got signed. Like my first year of marriage, I was gone like 310 days. But you also get to, you know, if you can show up in a city 700 miles from home and people show up, like that's a really cool thing.
For the past year, we've done, I think, 4 tours of the country of at least 2 weeks or more. It's been really, really, really excellent. You know, the crowds are kind of hit or miss, but it's kind of beginning to pick up, and there seems to be a little bit more of a buzz.
It's like humbling when you go on tour though, and you're like, there's 4 people here.
Oh, yeah. Those shows when you're not gonna make a lot of money, or when you're driving like 20 hours to make $250 or something like that, you know, or 100. When you get on stage, you don't think about any of that, and to see like someone get excited over the stuff that you've created is, I think it's probably you guys know it too, it just makes, it feels like you're getting paid when someone does that.
Real.
Yeah.
I don't mind being gone, and that's my favorite part of it is being on the road and seeing the things. I would prefer driving over flying if I had to go to LA. You know, the last time we did it, it took us 36 hours to get there straight through, you know, with a van and a trailer, and I loved every second of it.
I'll be out for 3 or 4 days and can't wait to get home. And I get home and I'm home for 3 or 4 days and I'm like, I need to get out of here. I need to get, it's like, I can't stand it, you know.
Some of my greatest memories are from like ending up at like some random apartment in Chicago, playing a sitar till 4 in the morning whenever the rest of the guys are like trying to find a mechanic and like at 4 in the morning.
New Orleans, Austin, Texarkana. Right. Funny story about
Texarkana.
Funny story about Texarkana. Played a great show. Then they started messing with the guys at Waffle House. Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the old lady party.
Oh, that's right. Oh, this is even better.
There's more.
There's more. We walked into an Eyes Wide Shut party. I swear to God, it was no. We walk in this big mansion in Texarkana.
They fed us. They gave us drinks. And it was awesome.
We walked into this mansion.
They got weird.
A life in music may seem like all fun, but outside the time you see them on stage is when the real work happens. Just like in any small business, there's a lot of DIY. Do it yourself.
One thing my mother told me when I was like 6 years old, she said, well, what are you gonna be? What are you gonna do when you grow up? And I said, I know I'm not gonna work for a living because I see how tired my dad is when he gets home, you know, and so I told her I was either gonna be an attorney or an artist, you know. It turns out both of them are work.
Yeah, it's certainly not like Field of Dreams where you just build it and everyone just comes to you.
I mean, I feel like if there's anything that we have done well, it would be us treating our business like a business. Because you meet a lot of artists and they are like, I just want to play music and sing songs. But we've always been, even when we were kids in high school, we were like, we love writing songs, but it's also a business and we want to be successful at it.
We do a lot of the business stuff, and I think you just have to. That's just part of the price to play now, especially at the beginning. I think the really big guys want to see you basically have already done all the hard work yourself before they'll come in and really give you a bump.
I think you could translate what we do in this business to any other business.
To me, that's always the toughest part because you know, you want to just be a musician, you just want to play and have a good time. And
Sometimes I have to remind myself that it's a band,
No kidding.
not just a business.
Right now, everything goes into a band fund. I've always taken care of that. And because of that, we've already done like 4 runs of shirts, you know, records, stickers. You know, Evan had a bum bass amp at some point. It was like, cool, we got money, take it. You know, and most musicians, like, we don't have any money, you know?
No one's gonna do this for you. And honestly, to be able to have that understanding now and to see how the money works and where the money is going and, you know, making sure everyone's taken care of, it makes you appreciate what we're doing and how we're doing it.
I started out, I was just like, this is what needs to happen, but I don't know why, you know? And now, almost 3 years later, like, I built a business, you know? And like, there's more money in my band account than there is in mine. You know?
That sounds very familiar.
It's probably, you could probably combine our 2 bank accounts and have more in the band account.
No, we're the same way.
We've done everything in-house since day one. And that has been a hindrance as much as it's been a blessing for me in that I've done everything on my own terms. And everything I've gotten to do, all the experiences and opportunities that I've had have all been at my own hands.
It's a full-time job if you're wanting to stay busy with shows and if you're wanting your music not just to be, you know, playing it at shows, but also making records and, you know, getting that in front of people that, you know, may want to use that. And so there are sacrifices that you have to make.
As much as the professional side is important, the personal side is important, I think we really have to take into account everybody's personal well-being, because being aware of, okay, like, hey, how are we going to schedule this? How are we going to do this in a way that's going to allow everyone to prosper, not just professionally, but personally? I think that's kind of been a key to us being a band still.
So where is all this heading? Well, you might be surprised to learn that not all of them are gunning for fame and fortune. The dreams are as diverse as the artists themselves.
I think that's always, you know, the goal. Everybody, you start out as whatever, an 11-year-old kid, you think, I want to get famous, make a lot of money. But now at this point, it's more just like, do better next year than you did this year. You just keep doing better every year than you did the year before.
The older I've gotten, the more I've reverted back to the original idea of just, I want to write songs, perform them for people. So I guess like really the answer for me making it is to be able to keep doing this when I'm 65,
staying
70.
power.
Yeah, staying power.
I feel like the festival circuit's where it's at.
Where you want to
With the exception of Chase, you know, we're not trying to be Lady Gaga here.
That's a good point. I was trying to think of a Lady Gaga line that I could throw out, but I don't know.
Here you are, all alone, and you're saying you wait for me to take you home.
Success is such a broad word, and I think that I make a living playing music, and I have for the last several years. That's crazy to me. So to me, I've already made it because I'm making a living playing music, and that's what any musician wants to be able to do. So anything extra is just icing on that cake.
And then there's the other component is just the creative side, like play better shows, make more money, and that part of it. You also want to get better as a songwriter, a musician. And
yeah, that's kind of my drive, is just to be a
band.
better musician, you know?
I just want to rock clubs across the country. I would be happy with anything, of course, exceeding that. But I mean, my real goal, I just want to keep writing songs, and I just want to keep playing a lot of shows.
I would just like to make a humble living, I guess.
Like what's humble?
Small house, a dog, you. And that's about it. Living, playing music.
Ultimately, for us, music is a means to connect with people. We love playing music, but ultimately, we love connecting with people and hopefully bringing hope to people. So for us, is if we can use our music to get to those conversations and sit down like this with people that we would have never have met and do that full time, that is a dream job.
Mountainous creative challenges, long trips with lousy accommodations, endless hours of hard work, and little or no money. With a job description like that, you've got to wonder what keeps them going.
I love to entertain and I love to have fun and I like to see people have a good time. I guess, you know, that's just something I've always enjoyed. I love to travel, I love to play different venues and just meet all different people through the world and just make them happy.
I think a cool thing about creating something is that you can go to a show and someone can experience it. Like someone come up afterwards and say, I've been through a hard time and that song that you wrote affected me in that way.
I think just the moments of playing live are pretty awesome. Like that one time where like, you know, somebody tries something kind of that they didn't do at practice and then it happens to lock up with everything, that's pretty badass. That's kind of like what I live for in live shows.
I love it when you write a song and you think it just means nothing, and you listen to it and you're like, oh, that means everything.
Yeah. And that's kind of one of the coolest things, to see a song that you wrote and you're playing it for a club and you're, you know, it might not be like this really ultra deep impact on people's lives, but for that moment, for that song, you're literally changing reality in a weird way for this room full of people and for yourself.
For us, a lot of times we don't judge the pros and cons of being in a band. We define ourselves as being in a band. Yeah. And so like you don't really think about, oh, I should do something else, it'll be better. Like this is what I am.
There is no option.
When nothing else could possibly work, no therapist, no anything could work except hearing those notes, hearing those words, hearing that melody, and it just moves you. And you can't explain it in any other way than that.
I think there's something primal about it. Like music, we've been making it since we've been human beings. And so just, it makes you feel, and I think just people want to feel. I want to feel.
Every damn day, you know, it's a struggle, but you have to enjoy the journey in order to appreciate it and to be happy as a musician, because it's all that I have. I don't have anything else. You know, like I live. You give up a lot. But at the end of the day, it's about the music. And I've, you know, had to let go of some things in order to be where I am. And, you know, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Local music defines and enriches a community. and it only thrives with your support. So treat yourself to a night out sometime and cheer on a local musician. They've earned it.
Screamed, I'm out of here. Between the laughter and tears and her teenage years, she's just dreaming about shifting gears. Betty's gotta get out of here. She left it all in a rearview mirror. Oh, Betty got a Chevy with the windows down, little red Sonic with a stereo loud. 18 years to get out of that town. Oh, Betty got a Chevy now. Got that car loaded down. She's Dallas TX bound. Between those highway miles and her small town smile, she's just loving the life she's found. Oh, Betty got a Chevy with the windows down, little red Sonic with a stereo loud. 18 years to get out of that town. Oh, well, Betty got a Chevy now. She's making her own way, working hard every day till the weekend comes. Then she's ready to play. Yeah, Betty got a Chevy with the windows down, little red Sonic with the stereo loud. Took 18 years to get out of that town. Oh, Betty got a Chevy now. The Chevy now. Betty got a Chevy now. Oh, Betty got a Chevy. Yeah, Betty got a Chevy. Oh, Betty got a Chevy.
Oh yeah, no, that's right. I just did that because I thought I had sunglasses on.